a banger? Hell yeah.
Class is in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC Guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Yo, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Market Report. This is the show that you guys get all of your data from every morning, your market news, your economics, all that good stuff. We're going to be taking a look at what Bitcoin's doing, a little bit of pullback right now at critical levels of support, but it looks like we could have some clouds opening up for a little bit of ray of sunshine of hope on Bitcoin. Japanese yen looking like it's not going to be doing any more rate cuts over there at the Bank of Japan. So we're going to be jumping into a lot, looking at this little ray of hopium, seeing if Bitcoin can ride that thing all the way back up. Stick around, guys. Let's get it. Class is in session. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Market Report. This is the show on Piper Academy, and I'm Army Piper, and I come at you every morning, 9:30 a.m. with bringing my co-host along. I drag them left and right when I have them both here, but today I only got OC Guy, and we're going to be breaking some market stuff down for you. What's up, OC Guy? How you doing, man? How was your weekend? It's Monday. Are you feeling the Monday manics, or how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Finally, if you guys don't know, I had a visit from the SEC. I took a break of trading traditional markets, but finally my documentation is all back online. I should be submitting it throughout this week. So I'm pretty excited, actually. So I'm back, baby. I'm back on traditional markets. So that's a pretty huge news for me, because
I should have done that as a thumbnail today. Should have had you on there going, I'm back. Oh, good Lord.
But so, pretty good. I had a great night rest and pretty pumped. Yeah, you were saying,
good,
sorry?
Good to hear. So I got notified this morning that we will not have the Mod Queen today, tomorrow, possibly Wednesday, just so you know. Alexandra G is not available. She's got some other work to do. So if one of the mods want to pick up the link dropping and all that good stuff, you got big shoes to fill. I apologize, but we don't have Alexandra G this week. But let's go ahead and jump in and talk about some market stuff, because I am seeing some market moves, right? There is some things happening. There is a little bit of an opening that, you know, we call it gleaming the cube, right? Or shooting the, you know, the threading the needle, right? We have an opportunity to do that in the markets. They're setting up, but it really depends on some factors. We're going to break all that down today. But first, let's jump over. Let's take a look at this. There we go. Let me get that up. There we go. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and jump over to the news, and we'll talk about this. The fear and greed index, first of all, guys, sitting at 25. We're in extreme fear. Okay. I know without Alexandra G, the chat is going to go into full chaos mode. I'm just saying, we do have an extreme fear sitting here. This extreme fear on this fear and greed index is about Alexandra G not being here today, and not being here tomorrow. So, there you go. That's where that came from. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the crypto bubbles. Let's refresh that. Give it a little refresh there. Looking at the daily, Sats up 12.4%, APT, SUI 16.1, HNT up 9.5. Nothing major on the top 10. It's just these odds and ends, right? SUI maybe. But look, if we look at this on a weekly, Bitcoin's up 15.6%. Let's jump this down to the daily and see how the the big caps are looking here. Guys, Ethereum is the one getting the move here. And we've had all kinds of Ethereum moved over to exchanges to sell off. I think Ethereum sell-off could be just about done. So outperforming Solana, Bitcoin, everything on the daily here. So let's jump down and see how it is. And yes, you're right. Eric Wallen said it. We kind of did a dumpski. Yeah, a little bit of a dumpski there over the weekend. Bitcoin down 1.4% on the daily here. Currently sitting just underneath $60,000. It is about 59.5, and actually just lost that 5. It's now 59.4 now. Looking at Ethereum, it's up 2.1% on the daily. on the hourly, flat, not looking too bad. It is at $26.83, almost $2,700 there. Not pulling back as much as other tokens on the market right now. So looking at BNB down 0.8%, Solana down 1.6%, still up though, 27.9% for the week though. XRP up 26.5 for the week, sitting at 57 cents, guys. I told you I shorted this last week after that data came out, so not feeling too bullish on that. Toncoin is up 2.3% on the daily there. And that will pretty much take us to the top 10 with the Cardano rounding it out, down 1%, sitting there about 34 cents like a stable coin. So shout out to the ADA people out there. You know I love you, but Ada and I are not really tight anymore. I had to move that stuff over to something else. Looking here at the liquidations, guys, anything major on here? Past 24 hours, 65,500 traders liquidated, 171 million. Nope, not too bad. Looks like a majority of it was longs on that pullback. So let's move over here. Let's refresh this economic data. Let's refresh it. There we go. And let's take a look at what we got going on here on the economic data front, guys. I don't know why you did that. Let me go back in here and reopen the economic data. Every now and then, the economic data just disconnects from the internet, and you got to come back in and redo it. It's okay. Here we go. Looking here at the economic data, the calendar for the week, guys. Today, monthly budget statement, nothing big there to worry about. The big ones, though, and this is part of, actually, let's go over here. Let's talk to the duo cam first. So, OC, a couple of things going on. We got the markets pulling back this week as far as the dump overnight, right? But we've got futures opening green right now. Matter of fact, I'm looking over here at it right now. S&P is up on the futures. The NASDAQ is up on the futures. The Dow Jones up on the futures. Everything's looking pretty decent there on the futures front. So when we see that, that means that the stock markets are cooking in that, hey, things are okay ahead. We see ahead. It's okay. We've also got some news that came out on the front of the Japan that they're not cutting. They're not going to do another rate hike, right? They're just kind of chilling right now. Matter of fact, let's go jump over there. I want to pull this out before I get into the so what of all of this. Let's go to news. Is this OC and I? Yep, there we are. Look at that. So one of the things that I'm seeing over here on this is looks like we won't have to worry about the yen carry trade for a while. Okay. So a former member of the Bank of Japan believes that there will be no more rate hikes this year. The news comes shortly after the Bank of Japan's recent rate hike caused volatility in the global markets. Traders who borrowed trillions of dollars of yen were forced to sell assets after the rate hike. I think we've already had that. I think that's played out, and there's no more pressure coming where the people that were like close to that liquidation line, right? It wicked down towards them at that point, right? So I still think that they have some people that are carrying yen valuation that didn't get flushed out or washed out. Okay. So I think that with that happening, if the CPI data this week is any good at all, and the PPI data is any good at all, I think that we have an opportunity to get us into a move to the upside. Because I want to point something out. We've got this PPI data over here. Let's go back to that. We got PPI data, and this is the producer price index, if you guys don't know. Core PPI, this is the producer price index excluding food, okay? So core producer price of the United States, which excludes food and energy costs. Energy is the big one that's really running this stuff up, right? We know that. And food costs. So you take those out, what we're looking at here is we have this breakdown of PPI where it's actually going to be 0.1% projected, 0.1% higher, not previously was 0.2. That would be a decrease. That would be a decrease right there of 50%, right? Actually, it would be a 100% decrease to go to 0.2 to 0.1, but that's okay. I digress. Looking at the core PPI here at 0.2%, it's another, half as much in the decrease amount, right? So it goes from 0.4 to 0.2. This is your core PPI. Well, what do we have on Wednesday? Wednesday, we're going to get the inflation rate, right? This is going to be our core inflation rate. And if you look here, it says previously at 0.1. Consensus is that it will be a little bit higher, forecasted to be a little bit higher on core inflation, right? But when we look at the what it actually makes core inflation does not include energy and food again, right? So when you take those out, our inflation rate, when you put those back in, I mean, our inflation rate is actually looking at being neutral or less than. So I think that in the grand scheme of things, of what we're seeing here, we might see a little bit of pressure here on some of the inflation. I think some of the inflation is going to come in like year over year neutral. It's going to be a little bit chill. I think the core pieces of this are going to come in a little bit hot and put a little pressure on, like inflation rate month over month. And then I think that when you put those on top with the PPI data, the producer price index, without the Japanese yen having to do another rate hike, okay, not washing out the markets, I think what we're going to get here, OC, a lot of talking to get to this point, but here's the picture that I see coming this week. I see that we have data that is significant enough that we have to do a rate cut in September, but not so significant that we have to do an emergency rate cut anytime between now and then, or that we have to do a 50 basis points between now and then for that rate cut in September. I see 25 basis point rate cut coming in September and nothing in August, because the things that would make him do an emergency rate cut are the things that would go, holy crapola, we need to do a 50 basis point rate cut. I think all of that stuff has settled down. The carry trade has started to show signs of chilling out. The markets are stabilizing the volatility. I mean, when you really look at where Bitcoin's at right now, it's about where it was at a little over a week ago. Like, we haven't really done anything significant. So let's jump over and take a look at that chart in a second, and we'll do that. But I would like to know your piece on this, OC. How do you feel about the data that's coming out right now in lines with what I said about the Japanese carry trade and everything? Are we seeing this little, in the storm of lightning, thunder, and gray clouds, are we seeing this little beam of sunlight shine down to give us a little ray of hope or are my eyes deceiving me?
No, I think you are completely correct. First of all and foremost, I want to say that I hate to admit this, but I've been calling it for a little bit of a time, which is the U.S. government officials do know what they're doing, right? I think at this point, remember when we had at the beginning of the week or the previous week, Japan going like with this whole trade change of rates, and also we have bad data, bad jobs data, and then they change it, and kind of like everybody was in panic, and now it's, hey guys, look at, we're not that bad, we told you so, right? So I mean, I hate to admit this, and I do also acknowledge that I don't think that is the way to do it, but let's just put the pieces where they're supposed to be. Right now, the U.S. government or the U.S. as a country, it is the top economy, right? And it has been holding there, let's just call it, for a couple of cycles, right? I mean, that compared to Great Britain when it was the global leader, right? France, so on and so forth. So as part of the green scheme of things, I think they know what they're doing. It's once again that past December 2023, when everything was on fire and ended up not being that bad. I think we're going to that way, and I do see it on the charts. I mean, that I'm not that big into news, but I'd rather see it on the charts. And that exact thing I'm seeing on the SPX or S&P 500, right? Gaining back some territory, going back into a little bit of that strength that I like to see, or at least a little bit of a ranging area, which will make the markets decide whether they want to keep going up or going down. But that leaves that space or that gap for you to make those movements. So I think you are correct. I mean, completely correct. I think you're nailing it. In fact, you have been calling this for the past, what was it, month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's something that we've been kind of like expecting, but still pushing the guys, be careful, guys, be careful, guys, be careful, right? Because something's going to break. There's no doubt of it, but we just don't know when. And other than that, I think absolutely that is that light at the end of the tunnel, kind of like made me rethink back into my strategy a little bit, and then coming with a new plan of attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you got to approach this, like day by day, week by week, right? Like long term, if you're looking at long term and you're thinking long term, guys, we're in this to win it, right? We're in it to win it. We think that upside to the right, up and to the right. That's the way, right? I guess from the screen it would be up and to the right, but you know what I'm saying. You guys are with me. Looking at this in the near term, though, yes, something's going to shake out, and it might be in the next month. It could be in the next year. Absolutely, but something's got to give, especially when we look at data like this. Let's jump over and take a look at this data real fast. This is from the Kabisi letter, guys. This is transition into serious delinquency. This is credit card loans, credit card delinquencies that are over 90 days unpaid. Okay, so that is a serious delinquency rating there. Since 2022, delinquency of 90 plus days have more than doubled on credit cards, U.S. credit card rates, right? At the same time, auto loan serious delinquencies have surged 3% to their highest in 14 years. So let's go here. Let me refresh this and give this a pull up here and see what it's saying. There we go. Currently, there are 600 million, approximate million credit card accounts and 110 million auto loan accounts in the U.S., according to the New York Fed data. That means 42 million credit cards and 3.3 million auto loans are on the brink of default. And you can see it here. Blue is the credit card, massive spike up there starting between quarter two of 2022, I should say. And then we've got the green is the auto loan here. You got mortgages. They dropped down big time. Nobody's defaulting on that. Everybody's locked into like 3% and below. Purple, that is your high revolving, high equity revolving. Okay. And so that's just stayed low too, because nobody's really getting that type of stuff either. So high earning revolving, I should say. Student loans dropped down big time. We know why that happened, because the federal government said, hey, we're gonna take care of those payments, and they put a moratorium on it after 2020, and it just kind of dropped. So yeah, looking at the credit card loans there, they are absolutely just pumping up crazy high. It's again, 42 million credit cards are on the brink of default. So and so something's going to break, right? You got all these companies. The one thing that I do have hope for here, you got these companies that are going to get a hit. Okay. They're going to get hit by default loans on their, whether they're selling cars or whether it's credit cards, someone bought all this stuff on credit cards, right? Obviously those companies got their money from the credit card companies, but then if they are inside of like a person, like a Best Buy credit card, for example, that Best Buy loan to their bank, they get hit back on chargebacks for that. So the one thing that is given a little bit of hope here on all of this is going to be the fact that rate cuts are coming down. So that loan rate for businesses and companies to borrow will be cheaper in order for them to get money for operating costs. So that is the one little piece of hopium there that we are seeing with that OC. So let's see what do we got going on here? Somebody made a comment here in the chat about credit cards. Yes. And I do want to talk about that because it's a good transition from this level here that they're talking about on default. So guys, credit cards are not a horrible thing. Not having discipline with your credit cards is a horrible thing. Okay. If you have a credit card that is giving you cash back, okay, 2%, 3%, whatever it may be, and you're not paying an annual fee on that card, it just, gives you back 2%, 3% cash back on stuff, right? Sometimes on everything, sometimes on select categories. That literally helps you fight inflation. If you're paying it off every month, you're not paying any interest on it, right? That 3.5% that it costs for a credit card transaction, or 3% depending on what company it is, that's picked up by the business, not you, not on your end. So you're borrowing money from a credit card company at 0% interest rate as long as you pay it off at the beginning of the month, right? Before it starts accruing interest. If you're getting 3% cash back and you had an inflation rate that is, came up by 2%, well, you're getting back 1% more than what the inflation rate is. You see what I'm saying? So there is ways to help fight inflation, and credit cards are not a bad thing. Credit cards are a good thing. They're a bad thing if you don't have discipline. It's your discipline that's the problem, not the credit card that's the problem. So Just max out your credit card and wait 7 years. Horrible advice, Eric Wallen. Let's go ahead and jump into that Bitcoin chart, guys, and let's take a look at what that's looking like for us over here on the charts. First of all, I do want to show you guys the heat map. Looking here this morning, NVIDIA up a little bit, Microsoft down. Let's see. We'll give this a refresh. I think I need a refresh on that. Heat maps. If you guys don't know, you can go right in here and get heat maps on TradingView. So yeah, that was right. 2% on NVIDIA to the upside, Apple's to the upside, Google down just a little bit, Microsoft down just a little bit. So markets about 50-50. They're not opening to the boom. They're not opening to the dumps. So it's okay. Looking at Bitcoin right now, we did open to the we did get a pump overnight a little bit here. Came up to about 59.9, 60,000 before it started to pull back down again. We are sitting right now at the value area low here, which is coming in right about 58,500. I am going to be watching for us to come down. Oh, that's not the value area low. That's the value area high that we're above there. Sorry. If we do break that, I am looking for us to come down to the point of control down here with the 300-day EMA. I will point out something here on the 4-hour, looking at the Oscillator Pro Plus, guys. We do have money flow starting to come into the upside. Do you see this green right there? That's money flow. And then we're also starting to get a true 7 showing green. Last time we did that was here. We came in with green. See that? That was the move we got. So I'm seeing some hopium. Like there's some indicators popping at the same time that economic data could line up for an easing here on the fear level for investors. And I am seeing that potential. If we jump over here, take a look at what I'm seeing on the RSI Prime. I've got this set to now to temperatures, guys, on the 12-hour, and you can see it's really doing well for when it's in the reds. Hey, possible pullbacks, like RSI Prime working on alongside with the Pro Plus is a beautiful, beautiful indicator combo. So I am watching right now. We are sitting here a little bit green. It looks like it's trying to wash out from that neutral area. But we're still in that yellowish green. I want to see these bright green colors come into play that we get right before we move up. We started to get it here, and then the Japanese yen just took control. So on the 12-hour, we are looking like a little more downside, which is why I said I am looking for us to come down here to this level. That would be about $55,000. Let's kick it over to UOC, see what you're seeing on your chart, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the chat.
Absolutely. I already have put up a couple of things in there for us to take a look at. It seems like it's been a bit of a request there. So what's happening in Bitcoin right now? I do see that movement here, and I want to bring up the past things that I've been preparing for, right? The first thing was a big retracement. Remember that my invalidation point was this one. So we removed this analysis, right? And then again, I was still waiting for a possible market pattern. So it's still being a possibility, and that is just because of this week that is just happening right now. Something important I want to point out is that we can draw a trend line in here, but also we can start doing it in here. So what's going to be defining what's going to happen next? I'm going to be saying what happens in the oscillator. It seems like an invert goose head. And we just changed from market dumps, from market pumps to market dumps. So if we are breaking through this trend line, and for that, I'm going to be giving myself a little bit of a space there just to make sure that we are in fact or indeed breaking it when we start touching it, right? So let me lock it and add alert to it. And if we start breaking this trend line, I think that we're going to be going for previous lows right down here and basically having something like we have in here, a big V-shaped recovery with a higher up range before we start pushing to the upside. Nonetheless, I think that this upcoming month is going to be a great month. I mean, great, not dumping month, right? But that remains to be seen. That is just my speculation. Remember, this is a the next upcoming month, it's a educated guess, right? But so far, if we start breaking this, I think the next big support is going to be somewhere around there. And can we confirm what am I saying? Well, then absolutely we can. As you can see, we're bouncing out of this area of support, and we start breaking this. We could be just going between this channel here. So not much for a big dump, but of course this will look for or like a lower low, right? So this is going to be my area keys between 57,433 and 56,515 for, let's just call it, last piece of support before we turn back into a bearish mode. Are we bearish? Yes, we're bearish, but we were making higher lows and higher highs until this area. What I really want to see is just the exact same replica of what happened here, a little bit of a range before we start pushing forward on the dynamic reactor by breaking the, I don't know, 60K, 961K area. But other than that, everything looking sweet. Let me just touch very quick on the S&P 500, guys. We are right against the dynamic reactor. So basically the first step of this analysis, it has been completed. So we were right on our analysis here. Let me bring up just my support and resistances. And what we have here, well, this is going to be a point in which I'm going to be either keeping this line or not. So far, I will. But this is the thing. If I start seeing the oscillator start making that push through the zero line, I'm absolutely going to be just taking this one out and then painting another one all the way to here, and then a retracement back to dynamic reactor for the next movement like that. But so far, looking good on the S&P 500, sorry. But we need to be careful. And so far, I'm just going to keep it as is. But remember, there is this light at the end of the tunnel that can make or bring some excitement back into the market. So other than that, turning it back to you, Piper.
Awesome. We just got breaking news also from Dave Digital. He said he got an emergency message from Alexander G, who said there's only 27 likes. So there you go. Alexander G calling people out about not getting on the likes, guys. If you haven't done so, hit the like button. It's free. That's what she said. It's free. So go ahead and hit that. Let's jump over, look at what you got on the list there. I see Ethereum, ADA, XRP, and Litecoin. ALC, by the way, OC, that is Amy Lives Crypto. So shout out to Amy Lives Crypto in the chat.
Yes, I did put it up, and I do have, there is a stock called also ALC, and it's looking bullish, by the way. So I'm bullish on ALC.
Amy Lives Crypto. We're going to look at some ALC stocks and see how that's looking. So let's jump over. I got Ethereum coming up right now, though, on my chart. So let's jump over there. Guys, I am a little bit concerned right now. You guys see over here, we are getting the futures. NASDAQ here is now pulling back red. ES1, which is going to be, that is going to be your S&P 500, and then US 30, which is your Dow Jones. These are the futures in real time, and they are all looking red right now. Okay, that is one thing that I'm watching. Two, if we jump over and look at the stock heat map, things are starting to turn red besides the big seven, and the big seven are mixed. Some of them are in the negative. Google, Microsoft in the negatives here. Amazon in the negative right now. Okay, so we are getting that. The other thing is, we look at the Dixie. Dixie's flat right now on the 4 hour, absolutely flat. Money's not going into there. Let's go down and check and see if it's going into the treasury bonds. Let's go look at that. Let me pull that up and see how treasury bonds are looking here. 1 second, and I will find it. There it is. Let's look at this 2 year. Anything here? Yep, they are dropping a little bit. So this one's down almost 1%. Remember, the lower these go, the more people are buying them, right? Or the more, the more people are buying them. If they're not buying, if they're selling them, then the rate goes up that they offer because they need to entice people to buy them. Okay. So I just wanted to explain that. 10 year and 2 year, both in the negative today, which means people are buying those. And then lastly, one last piece of data here about where money is going, guys. Look at gold. Gold's running back up to that 2480 range again there. It's at 2454 right now. So we are seeing some sell-off on the markets right now, and that money flowing into the treasury bonds, which is a sanctuary, right? Sanctuary spot for people in the investment world, and then into gold, which we know is a sanctuary for, a hedge against the economy collapsing and bad events. So we are starting to see that maybe some of the data that we're thinking is coming out this week may be worse than we expect. So we are seeing people position themselves to safety. So Are we short friends? I am never short friends, but I might be short on my markets, Alex. Though I got good friends. I'm never short on those. All right, let's go check out Ethereum and see how that's looking. Just did want to point out that stuff to you guys that looks like people are positioning themselves to a little bit of a protective measures. UNGOR. Yep. Okay. Let's see here what we got on Ethereum, guys. Currently, right now, showed you earlier, it was up a little bit for the day against Bitcoin, stuff like that. But right now, it is sitting right about $2,600. It was almost up to like 27 earlier. Now it's closer to that 2,600 right now. Getting very close to this daily close yesterday at 25.55 here yesterday. So keep that in mind. That could be where it bounces down to. Let's look and see what we got here on the daily. Let's get off that 4 hour and see how the daily is looking here. We do have a 382 coming in at $2,400 here. This would be one spot that I would watch for. But ultimately, guys, I've been talking about this for a hot minute, that I do think that we're going to come down to this 236 down here, along with this long running trend line. The reason for that being, this trend line goes way back in history, all the way back here to 2020. And I said, if we're into this area, it is very logical and very likely that the price is going to pull down through the 382, look for a rejection there, and then down to that 236. This is a long running trend line in line with a very, very important fib level. So that's what I'm seeing there. Let's look at the oscillators on the daily and see how it's looking. It does look like we did get the True 7 fire off here on the Oscillator Pro, and it is coming up. But look at money flow, guys, on the daily. The money flow on the daily is really flat. It does have a little curve up at the end. You can see that if we bring this in, it's a little bit of curvature, but it's pretty flat. I'd love to see this more angled like it was here, going in here, and that would give us that indication that money flow is coming in hard enough to give us a pump. But as of right now, the VWAP and everything did fire off below, but I am not seeing enough strength for a continuation for this to come back up. We did get that rejection that we talked about last week up here in this range, and that's exactly where we would have to come back through and beat that range, coming in at about $3,100, guys. 3,000 maybe. Yeah, about $3,000. We'd have to break through that level for me to get bullish on Ethereum. So let's kick it over to OC, see what he's looking at there on his chart, and I'll take a look at the chat.
Absolutely. Very quick. It was already a long gone joke, but we have ALC, something that actually kind of like I was looking as a joke, but now it did caught my interest. Why? Because despite we've been seeing, the bear market kind of like taking over for a little bit, we see a very strong movement to the upside on ALC. Alcon Incorporation. By the way, if you don't know what Alcon Incorporation is, I also didn't know until a minute. It is a German eye care innovative company. It just has some expansion to South America with new manufacturing capability there, and basically it's just demolishing it, right? So yes, we have a market dumping here. I will be looking for maybe a support here on the dynamic reactor. Also, I want to bring up my support and resistances. As you can see, we are between two areas of support. I will be calling this one as a very, very hard area of support. Maybe we're weakening areas all the way down here, but so far we are making a lower high, right? This is not to be worried just now, but I will be saying, hey, I think we could be having an opportunity to go in for a very strong area of support, because we also have seen this, right? This movement, and then having an equal high, and finally keep pushing upwards. So that's why I would not be that worried about this movement. Maybe we could be having the same one here. So I'll be looking just between 89.99 and 88.25 for a possible entry of support, as long as we are at one of two things: one, above the zero line, or two, bouncing up to the zero line into this motion here to maybe make a bullish diversion. So Amy Leaf Crypto, shout out to you, lots of love, and great that I found ALC, by the way. I'm bullish on it. So other than that, turn it back to you, Piper.
Awesome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I love you guys so much. We just got a gifted 5 Academy memberships from Caffeinated Crypto in here. And let me go see who got those. Do we have that list of who got those in here? OC, do you see them? Oh, there we go. Well, looks like Wick's wife picked up 1. Trade Intuitions picked up 1. It looks like French Toaster picked up 1. Pew Pew Cruise and Harp all getting those gifted memberships from Caffeinated Crypto. So thank you so much. Much love. You guys are awesome. Let's go and take a look at Cardano. I got ADA up. You guys know I sold my ADA. I converted. I didn't sell it. I converted it to something a little less risky, right? Injective, a little Injective, little Solana, little Bitcoin. That's what I did with it. So let's jump. Oh, and Ondo. So let's look at where I did that, and then let's see where we are now. This would have been back here in beginning of July sometime. So yeah, it was here. Okay, good. We're lower than what it was when I sold it. So there we go. I had to make sure. I was like, man, I might be below. I might be underwater. ADA Ace. I will go back to ADA someday. I promise. But not right now, man. I think ADA Ace just threw every single hand emoji at me in the chat except for the middle finger. That's what just happened there. So, all right, let's take a look here and see what we're seeing here on ADA, guys. We are in the platinum pocket in Cardano, sitting right there beneath that 786, getting our bounces off of our 887. This was a previous range of support here. And if we go back and look previously, you can see how this area played back here in 2023 in November. So this is a key area. I am watching this 24.2 cent range down here, guys. That is the 1-to-1. And if you go back here and look, you can see just how important this range was back here for support on ADA. So 24.2 cents. I called this out a long time ago, guys, that I thought we could come back and visit this. And I got attacked in the comments, not in the chat like this live chat, but in the comments after the video by someone who said that was never going to happen. That was all the way back in the beginning of the year. So that would have been around February sometime when I saw us hitting up here on this 236. And I was like, guys, we're starting to show on the daily a lot of weakness. And if this comes back, the only true area of support is the golden pocket, which right afterwards, we lost that, okay? And then down to the 1-to-1. And that 1-to-1 line, again, 24.2 cents. So I'm going to be watching that closely there for the level that we come down to. A lot of key support in the past. So let's move it over to OC's chart, see what he's looking at there. Man, what you got for us?
Absolutely. So I have Injective. So, but first of all, it says Blackichan 50. Blackichan says, responding to Crocs. Crocs mentioned, I think I will do well next year. Blackichan says, you might. I do not anymore. Hey, brother, share what might be happening. Maybe we can throw some not financial advice for knowledge here, and maybe something might help. But here on Injective, basically, we were looking at a previous analysis here. Remember, we went from the 4-hour to the 15-minute to try to catch this movement. It actually played out very, very, very nicely here, and we had that run up to the upside. That's exactly when we started looking at this very jaggly line here. So let's go back to the 4-hour to see what is that line about. Remember, that was what I was expecting in here, and it's basically playing out almost to the candle. Was I a little bit off? Yeah, I mean, just a tiny bit, right? So let's just move it over and pretend that did never happened, and let's see what are we onto right now. We are between not as the place that I was expecting with the dynamic reactor, but we are on some support and resistances there. I do see it bouncing right now, but there's one more thing that is a little bit worrying, and that is that we are coming from, first of all, a goose head, a very perfect goose head. Remember, I was speaking about the 1B area where that's where I want to see those goose head heads to play out with a further movement, right? And then we went all the way back down here, but it seems like we are having an inverted goose head. That inverted goose head is not on the right place, all right? So might not be playing out, but absolutely we could be having maybe a week down somewhere around 1695, and that will be maybe for the spring of a Wyckoff pattern here, and then pushing onwards if Bitcoin does not plummet so hard throughout this Monday, right? So something just to touch back, if Bitcoin makes it through Monday and Tuesday, I think that we are safe for the rest of the week, and we could keep pushing upwards with the rest of the altcoins. As long as Bitcoin just stays stable, I think the altcoins might flourish a little bit, or at least just enough to break through the dynamic reactor and regain a bullish state right there. But that's what I got on Injective. I want to bring up NVIDIA very quick. And this is because we did have an analysis in here. We were looking at this up-ranging area in which we ended up breaking below. So let me just clear this up a little bit and look at what has happened. We are building up some higher highs, right? And then also, are we there yet with a higher lows? Are we there yet with a higher high? Not just yet, where we are getting close to a huge area of resistance, and we are above the zero line. So are we going to be having that push? I do think that we're going to, right? Which brings me to Nancy Pelosi. Guys, it is always a little bit of a joke, but also keep an eye on what Nancy Pelosi does in here. She's been buying some NVIDIA. We have looked at this, right? And she bought in July 26th, right? And right now she's negative 5.25% down. But I mean, if we start breaking these areas right up here, we could be going for a massive pump to recuperate a couple of previous highs in here. So am I calling for a long? Not yet. I mean, this was your long opportunity right now. If you did not jump in, you should stand back down, or this is not financial advice, but I would just stand down, wait for the next retracement, see if the trend of higher lows and newly higher high is being respected. And if that is the case, well, then I will be getting some NVIDIA for myself. So once again, pretty excited with the stocks. So that's why I'm be looking too many of those. Other than that, turn it back to you, Piper.
I got my NVIDIA, man. I got my NVIDIA. I also got a lot of MicroStrategies. Let's jump over
that's
here.
The next one I'm looking at.
MicroStrategies. I love MicroStrategies, man. Just got a 10-to-1 split on that. I'm looking for my XRP in here, and I'm going to jump over to that. But first, I do want to give a little promo shout out. Guys, if you aren't tracking, if you don't know, there is a new show coming to the channel here. It is going to be in the morning called Good Morning Crypto. And we do have the little teaser trailer here for it. This is going to be the teaser intro. So guys, let me know what you guys think. This is coming soon, either next week or possibly the week after. We're still in discussion, making sure that everything's right for you guys, the alumni. So here, check it. Let me load that again, because it was supposed to play and it didn't play. Let me get that in there. There we go. Let's try that one more time. And there you go, guys. That is Good Morning Crypto. It's going to be Blackie Chan and Lunar Beaches Crypto, bringing you guys a pre-morning market open show before I even do my thing. Dave Digital, don't want me. I'm doing this on the fly, man. I'm by myself. I don't have like a Sin City studio in here. I need to move Dave Digital to El Paso and give him an office here, and he can just run production for me. Dave Digital, you want to go on another payroll for me? Let's go take a look at XRP, man. Shout out to the alumni, guys. But yeah, be watching for Good Morning Crypto coming soon right here in the morning. It's going to be before my show. It's going to be great. So let's get into that chart and let's see what we're seeing over there on XRP. There it is. Looking at XRP, guys, we did talk about this level back here that we got rejected off of back here. This is where I shorted right there. Remember what I was talking about? We had all these trend lines converging in one spot. It was like the perfect storm for sell-off there on XRP. We have now come down and found support Let me bring it into focus here. We have now come down and found support on the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day, the 300-day. Like everything is sitting right here for support on it on the daily right now, along with that 236. XRP looking like it has a lot of support. I'm going to guess what happens here is a lot of people put in longs here, okay? If they put in longs here because of all of this level of support, at the same time that we look down here and we see money flows actually coming down a little bit, we see that we're turning back into another red decline here on the Oscillator Pro. And the volume is starting to get really low and flushed out. You can see that volume was way up here. Now it's getting kind of grayish tinge there on the volume. And we have the little red power block up here showing a bearish trend. Let me get that in there. Right there is that red block right there. Come on, give me that brush mark. There we go. Right there. That has given us all of the indications that we need to say that XRP probably going to wash a lot of these people out that are trying the long here and all the support. If it comes down, guys, I am watching for it to come back down. As Piano Matty B always says, that which gets wicked gets candlesticked. So I'm going to be watching for it to come back down to this zero line at 43.7 cents. So that's what I'm seeing there on XRP. His open mouth pick was too good not to use. Yes, I love that picture of Alex O Crypto. It's a great one. Let's jump over to OC's chart, see what he's seeing there on the charts.
So I do have a little bit of a mess, but it's still LTC. So Litecoin is looking pretty strong, to be honest. Something that I kind of like don't like too much, it is the amount of divergence that we have had in here, and kind of like the retest on breakthrough the zero line in here. This is not definitely, but I mean, we are flatting out in here and we're making a little bit of a range. Absolutely, this could be a range of continuation, but if you guys believe on patterns and also you guys believe on repetitive patterns, let's take a look at what had happened before. We have a V-range recovery, we had the next high, we rally up to a flattening area, right? Then we have what seems to be a fake out with a fake spring. Again, we have a fake out with a fake breakout, and finally trickled down, right? So it seems to have almost exact same symmetrical movement here, right? Or one-to-one ratio. So what do we have here? Where we are locating basically on this range remains to be seen. I do expect, once again, depending on what Bitcoin does, and if Bitcoin holds between Monday and Tuesday, I believe Litecoin, it has the potential to break to the big area of resistance all the way up here to make a retest back and then a continuation. I do have high hopes for this upcoming month. Once again, this last commentary, it is an educated guess. We need to wait what day on day it brings to us, but I believe that we need to start at least ranging and breaking to the upside or holding throughout this month to make the next one like make the rally great again, right? So we'll see what else we have there. So other than that, Dave Digital says LTC trash can. Turn it back to you, Piper.
Yeah, one thing that Dave Digital is also shouting out there, and he's absolutely right. Let's jump over to the chart and show it. We do have the inverse of Adam and Eve, guys. This is Adam and Eve right there. Oh, it might be backwards. I think it's backwards. But anyway, that's an Adam and Eve pattern right there. When you get the rounded and then the sharp spike, guys, this is a bearish pattern. This would also indicate more downside too. So absolutely seeing that on XRP. So yeah, let's jump back over here. We got about 10 minutes. I'm not sure what all we got on the charts there. OC, do you have anything else that you got pulled up ready to show?
I can pull out TAO.
All right, let's do it.
Perfect. Remember, guys, last time that we were looking at TAO, I was telling you guys, hey, you know what? I do not have it, but if I would, which I'm going to, this is going to be the entry point that I'm going to be looking at. A little bit caveat there on the last video where I show you where I did enter, my entry point was moved I think it was something like that. I don't know why what was that move, but nonetheless, this is where it was actually my entry point. I did not enter here. I opened up my order here, and then it entered right here at this retrace retest point. As you can see, it went back through, and right now we are flagging out to the right. So have I taken some profits? Absolutely. I took 50% out of this area right here, as always, and I keep the other 50% in, and my stop loss is right at entry. So this looks like we could be going for a beautiful flag breakout if Bitcoin does behave, and that will be maybe taking us somewhere around 347. I think that's pushing it a little bit. I will absolutely be aiming somewhere between these two areas here. So I'll be guessing around 328.44 for my next taking profits. So I'm going to leave that remaining 50% in the table. I'm not going to be doing anything with it. And that is because if we have a little bit of a fake out to the downside, we can still make a comeback movement to the upside. And that is because, and let me just bring this Bitcoin chart back in here, we are having that very big wick that I was showing you here. Well, it's turning in, sorry, that very big candle is turning into a wick, right? So that means that maybe this goose head might not be strong enough, and that could be read instead of a goose head as a flip of the ribbon, because we're having other signals for bullishness. So it remains to be seen. Nonetheless, I'm holding this straight with 50% in, stop at entry, and already have taken 50% out. So TAO looking juicy at this point. If you did not jump in, this is not financial advice, but I would not be aiming for jumping in as it is right now. I'll be just looking for a further move to the downside, because we have the support lower and we have the resistance closer to us. So it's more likely that we bounce from the resistance and go back to find some support. So other than that, turning it back to you, Piper.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lou said, Piper, if Operation Iraqi Freedom and Desert Storm, excuse me, I think it lasted 2 weeks and American soldiers defeated the opposition, how can we think World War III is going to happen when we have such capability? So let me clear some things up here. So we automatically, yes, we can defeat a country very quickly. I think it was like 48 hours we took out Iraq, right? We stayed there for almost 20 years afterwards. Why? Because we don't just go in and remove the military threat. We have to stand up something so there's not a vacuum of power in that region also. If it's Iran, we absolutely have a whole nother scenario that we have to plug into there. And that is because you may not know this, but back in the 1970s, the Ayatollah was put into the seat of power for Iran, and the Shah left. He fled Iran, right? That family, the royal family of Iran, do you know where they live? The United States. We are likely going to put them back into their seat of power, even though we had a little bit to do with them coming out of their seat of power. Anyway, I digress. Which would mean that we would have to do that. Secondly, thirdly, anything that we do in Iran there would be a martyrdom that would take place. The Shia believe that their religious leader, which is what the majority of Iran is, they are Shia Muslims, okay? The Shi'i. That's where the split after Muhammad, when Abu Bakr and Ali, that is the split of the Sunni and the Shia Muslims in the world. There you go. Some theology lessons for you in Islam. But they believe that their religious leader is also their political leader, which would be the Grand Ayatollah. So we would have a lot of martyrdom, a lot of suicide bomber attacks, stuff like that, guys. That's how it goes. So don't think that it would be over quickly with Iran. And I'm actually hoping that we just use domestic or diplomatic pressures and regional network to keep that from happening. So just keep all that in mind. So I don't think that BRICS is going to pull other countries. It's not like a NATO. It's not like a global. Crux Crypto was saying Iran is part of BRICS now. That would bring other countries to play most likely also. I think they would actually be used to put pressure on Iran because they are trying to build an economy, not destroy their brand new BRICS thing that they're trying to build, which that's absolutely what would happen. So don't forget, no matter how good your economy is, the United States military can crumble it. So nobody wants to oppose that. So let's jump into this article here. Speaking of military, speaking of global failure here, OC, let's take a look here. There it is. OC, take a look here. Oil investors cut positions to record low amid financial market meltdown. According to Kemp, investors cut their petroleum positions to the lowest level for at least a decade early last week, part of a broad-based retreat from risk amid rising concerns over global economic slowdown. Hedge fund managers and other money managers sold the equivalent of 110 million barrels in the 6 most important petroleum futures and options contracts over the past 7 days, ending on August 6th. Let's jump over here, OC, and I know you got that chart. You're going to pull it up there. What does this say about what's coming on for the economy when you see the big hedge funds and big money start to go, you know what, I'm going to get out of these positions on oil? What does that tell you? Because you're pretty plugged in on oil, and you're pretty plugged in on how that plays into the market, especially down there in Mexico. So let's kick it over to you, and let's hear what you got to say about that.
Absolutely. So, Brent, let's just take a look at what is crude oil going, right? That's a little bit of a surprise to me, and that's completely honest. Because why? There's a couple of scenarios, and this is why it's very important to look at oil. By the way, if you want to learn how to read oil how to predict the green scheme of things, go into the Piper Academy. I share a little bit of guide on how oil works on especially global disasters, right? So basically, if it goes up very quickly, we could be having some cuts on production, rising costs, transportation issues, so on and so forth, because of the rising price of it, right? But we have seen a trickle down all the way down below these areas here, which, by the way, they were a little bit lower of what my intention or first areas of thought I was thinking here, but nonetheless, it wasn't that urgent. Something that is telling me what you mentioned, that everything is, or those guys are pulling out of oil, kind of like a relates on the daily. Let's go to the daily and look what we have here. We have been having some lower highs, right? And what we had already, it's a lower low in here. So we could absolutely be drawing now from this top to this bottom. And you can see that kind of like a fits pretty well. I know some spikes are kind of like going through back and forth, but you can see that we are fitting many of those from very, very far below or very far back in here, right? And I know it's a little bit of a mess, so let me just remove this line that it has been already broken. And that leads me to believe that we could be going into a downwards movement, which could be very dangerous, especially being below the dynamic reactor and being also below the zero line. Do we have a ton of bullish divergences? Absolutely. Can we keep pushing? Absolutely. But remains to be seen what's going to happen right at the dynamic reactor, because we could be having one big rejection, as we most of the times have seen this, right? As you can see, despite we do break to dynamic reactor, because I mean, at some point we need to, right? Majority of times, every single time that we touch dynamic reactor, we go farther down. Look at that, right? And that is something to note right here, especially since we have been made, or we're making a technical lower low. So should we be boring? It's not time for panic, but it's time to maybe start considering getting some opposite trading scenarios in here, especially on crude oil. But yeah, that's what I do see on oil at this point. It's not that worrying. Something that might give it away will be something like this: big wicks, big movements going back and forth to dynamic reactor. Guys, when we start seeing this happen, both to the upside or to the downside, be careful. It's time to take action. But yeah, that's what I do see. Piper, what are your thoughts about this? I'm really interested to see what are your thoughts on this matter.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that we're seeing this happen with oil. This is very smart money, making very long term plays. It tells me that we do have the potential of a recession still on the horizon. And like I said, I told you guys this at the beginning of the month when I said red August, red September. I said any pump that we get in August is very likely going to end up being a sucker's rally. Do not get trapped in it. I think that we're still going to see some downside. I'm still approaching this in the same way that I have been, of $10 per day in my top allocation assets. And that's it. I'm just dollar cost average on a recurring basis. Because I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if it's going to flip and reverse. I don't know if there's going to be pumps and dumps at this point. With all of the uncertainty going on the macro level, on the global political level, on the U.S. political level, on the Japanese yen, on the U.S. dollar, on gold, all of these things give too much uncertainty to know for certain. I can show you guys charts all day long and go look at this breakout of this triangle. It means upside, downside, 50%, 50%. Doesn't mean anything when you throw all the other data into it. And that is why we're here to just go to show you guys where these levels of support are at if you're looking to get into these markets, so that you can go, this is a good support level. I'm going to dollar cost average here. Do not ape in at these levels, guys, until we get a true trend movement where we can go, we have a confirmed trend structure. Then there's no reason to jump into any of this stuff. So, but guys, at the end of the day, we're just going to keep giving you guys the information, and we're going to look and see where this goes. I'm in it for the long run, so I am very, very bullish on all of this. Shout out to Moho. He said, can't we all just get along? I agree. No one wants peace more than someone who's fought in war for 20 years. Remember that. That is a fact. Buck said, true. He was talking about the size of the military. And I said, Iraq was the fourth largest military at the time of that war. He said, true, but at the time of the invasion, they didn't have the belly for the fight. No, they didn't. You actually see that a lot in a lot of countries. When we roll up, they lose that will to fight. It seems very quickly in a lot of the places that we go to. So we have overwhelming capabilities. That's what I'll put out there. That's what we have. And the ability to reach out and strike pretty much anywhere on the planet with a moment's notice. We are not isolated to just our mainland. So anywhere in the world, we are probably there ready to go. So let's get into the outro here, OC, and we will talk about what we saw today on the markets. I think that overall, look, every time we get a little hopium, something moves in and says, yeah, let's sell everything off. Still potential for downside. Big one's going to be the CPI and the PPI data, and we're going to be bringing that stuff to you guys tomorrow morning live. When is it all? It's tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning. Let me look here at the calendar. I just want to pull it over here. Yes, PPI tomorrow morning, guys. CPI, or core inflation, and CPI is Wednesday morning. And then on Thursday morning, we're going to get retail sales. That's going to be another big one. And our initial jobless claims, which is another indicator of the work labor force. And then Friday, we're going to close that out with housing, which is going to give us another indication of how the markets are looking economically in the future. Like, housing is a precursor indicator, right? So, guys, all week long, important economic data. We're going to be breaking it all down for you here on the Morning Market Report. OC, tell these guys what you got for them on the way out, and let's close out this show.
Absolutely. First of all, guys, thank you so much for joining, talking about getting all together into the same area. Well, I think the Piper Academy has been growing. So a shout out to the team and the new shows that we've been bringing, guys. And that is all because of you. Your likes do make magic in this channel. And we're right there for you, trying to bring you everything that we can to keep you support throughout morning, evening, late nights, and basically giving you everything that you need. So guys, thank you so much for joining. And maybe in the future, if you click that like button hard enough, we can get together with Roaring Kitty and maybe do the Roaring Piper. I don't know. Give it a thought. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Guys, thanks for joining us here today. We are going to be back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the morning market report, bringing you guys everything that you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Don't forget, tune in this evening and check out the Crypto Nightcap with Trade Fly and FD White. Guys, we'll be back here in the morning. Till then, as you guys always do, trade safe. And if you do trade, use a stop loss. We'll catch you guys later. Later.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolyte. Trade flag at the soul train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Chart Prime, then you were part of that alumni that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. Sound off to get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!